BJP. One of them is a former chief minister. The other happens to be the head of the legislature party of the Congress in Goa. These are two of the senior-most leaders that the state has seen and the party has seen. If the Congress cannot hold on to them, if the Congress cannot hold on to the likes of a Jyotiraditya Scindia, Jitin Prasada, supposedly at one point part of the inner circle of Rahul Gandhi, then how are they going to convince the rest of the country to vote for them?
Whether the rest of the country or not, Zaka, today what has happened in Goa, I mean, if anybody is trying to rationalize this dishonesty, pure dishonesty on the part of these politicians, I mean, it's rationalizing this is just something politicians can do. I mean, you mentioned this 36 Congress candidates from Goa Assembly election who pledged their loyalty to the party recently. Yeah. They went to a temple, they went to a church, they went to a dargah before the elections and said, we will not defect, we will not go. In 2019, they did a mass defection, and now again. I mean, whenever you think that Goa politics can't sink more, it just hits rock bottom again. I think BJP is celebrating that they have more than 80% majority in the assembly today. Metaphorically speaking, you can say that, it's like a lotus pond. And the Congress, their energies are on this Bharat Jodo Yatra, and clearly they have been caught napping, whether in Goa or also their energies are on this presidential polls, whether it's happening or not happening. But in Goa now they can neither swim nor can they sink, because with 3 MLAs after the 7 who have shifted, naturally they are furious because, I mean, everybody is calling their defectors enemy of the people, enemy of God. No, they're not enemies. They're all opportunists. As far as there is no divinity in this, there's no work of gods in this. This is pure and simple greed for power that has moved people from one party to the other, nothing else.
No, I want to ask Neerjachowdhury, doesn't it also expose the limitations of the anti-defection law? If 8 out of 11 people, which is ostensibly 2/3, are moving out of one party and going to another, then surely doesn't it raise questions about the shortcomings of the anti-defection law? Because and this we've seen this in Goa time and time again. Michael Lobo is a classic case. He was initially with the Congress, went to the BJP, I think in 2019, became a minister, and then just before the 2022 elections came back to the Congress, and now 6 months after that election he's gone back to the BJP. What's the penalty? I mean, what's the punishment for this? In fact, it only seems incentivized, if anything.
Look, there's a limit to what law can do. And if you have 2/3 of the legislators going, then it doesn't invite anti-defection law. Now, how do you better that one? If one side is going to break the other side, and the other side is going to be open and vulnerable to greed and whatever, or fear, or whatever were the reasons why they've gone, what can you do? How much can the law actually do this? It has to go beyond law. It is
no, but can't we have a simple provision, Neerja, where if an elected legislator, like in this case, these people who've been elected on a Congress ticket, want to flip parties or want to change parties, by all means, go ahead and do it. But you have to step down, contest again, and then go back to the party that you wanted to go to. That's a fairly simple law to have.
Well, that needs, I think that would be a good point to have a discussion, national discussion on, because what you're saying is if you're less than 2/3, you will have to resign your seat and contest.
Yeah.
But even if you're 2/3, that provision should apply. I think that's a very good suggestion. I think there needs to be a discussion on this. But a very quick point I want to make, it's very good. I mean, it's part of the political game for one party to upstage another. And BJP or Congress, if it was in power, would also want to show the other side undertaking a yatra in a poor light. That's part of politics. But what is worrying about here, and I would say just countering what one of the panelists said, it is because the Congress party is in shambles that it needs to do a Bharat Yatra. And the reaction of politicians is very different from public reaction. I think the two are not similar. But I would say the worrying part is what Goan said, some Goan said to me, that no matter who we vote for, it's the BJP forms the government. And does this mean that are we going to be headed towards a one-party rule in India? And what will it do for our democracy?
No, I want